Rome believed it could never be defeated. Its armies had conquered kingdoms. Its generals were feared across the Mediterranean. Its citizens believed their republic was destined to rule the world. A young commander from Carthage, did the impossible. Instead of attacking Rome by sea, where the Roman navy was strongest, he marched an entire army across towering mountains that many considered impossible to cross. Thousands of soldiers, thousands of horses, and even massive African war elephants. Snowstorms, avalanches, starvation, hostile mountain tribes, none of it stopped him. When his exhausted army finally emerged from the Alps, the Romans couldn't believe what they were seeing. They had prepared for war, but not like this. Over the next few years, Rome suffered defeat after defeat. Entire Roman armies vanished. Battlefields became rivers of blood. At Cannae, Hannibal trapped one of the largest Roman armies ever assembled and destroyed it almost completely in a single day. Military historians still study that battle more than 2,000 years later. For nearly 20 years, the greatest republic on earth lived in fear of one man, a man whose brilliance was so extraordinary that even his enemies admired him, a man who came closer than anyone to destroying Rome forever. This is the incredible story of the general Rome feared most. Hannibal Barca. The year was 47 BC. Across the western Mediterranean, two rising powers were locked in a struggle that would decide the future of the ancient world. One was Rome, a growing republic built upon discipline. The other was Carthage, grew rich from commerce stretching across Africa. It was a brutal conflict. Cities burned, fleets sank beneath the waves. Entire generations grew up knowing nothing but war. He belonged to the powerful Barca family. Though Carthage ultimately lost the war, Hamilcar refused to believe Rome's, and when it did, his son would be ready. According to ancient historians, before leaving for Spain, Hamilcar brought the young Hannibal to a sacred altar. Never be a friend of Rome. Whether every detail of that story is true remains debated, but one thing is certain. From childhood, Hannibal was raised to see Rome. It was there that Hannibal's real education began. He slept beside soldiers. He marched across harsh landscapes. He watched supply wagons struggle through mountains. He learned that an army marched not only on courage, but on food, discipline, and planning. The soldiers quickly noticed the fearless young boy. He shared their hardships. He earned their respect. Those qualities would later inspire extraordinary loyalty. As Hannibal grew older, Spain became the foundation of Carthaginian power. New cities were founded. Silver mines filled Carthage's treasury. Fresh recruits strengthened its armies. Both powers knew another collision was coming. It was no longer a question of if, only when. And when that day arrived, the boy who had sworn an oath beside his father would be the one leading Carthage into history. Years passed and, respected by every soldier who fought beside him. He had learned every lesson his father could teach: how to command, how to inspire, and how to survive. Hamilcar Barca died while campaigning in Spain. The man who had dreamed of defeating Rome. Was gone. For Carthage's hold over Spain. Hannibal watched carefully every meeting, every negotiation. Every military decision. In 221, army gathered. Veteran officers looked toward one man, not because he was the oldest years old. The soldiers raised their weapons in celebration. A new chapter had begun far away. Across the Mediterranean. Roman senators received the news. Some dismissed him as another ambitious young general. Hannibal did not immediately attack Rome. He understood something important. A great war was not won by rushing into battle. Strengthen Carthage's position in Spain, secure allies, build resources. Some tribes joined willingly, others resisted. A new city became the symbol of Carthage's strength, a powerful base, a wealthy treasury. The Roman Republic had not forgotten Carthage, but beneath the surface. World toward war. A city called Saguntum. Diplomacy had failed. The news spread across the ancient world with astonishing speed. Hannibal was marching toward Italy. At first, the Romans remained calm. They believed they understood his plan. Surely he would attack by sea. The Roman navy controlled the western Mediterranean. Rome prepared its ships. Instead of sailing across the sea, he turned his army north. Many of his own officers questioned the decision. Some believed it was madness. Then he continued marching. Those who fought were defeated quickly, those who joined him strengthened his army. By the time Hannibal reached the Pyrenees Mountains, he understood something important. Force lacking confidentive, march continued. Soon they reached the broad waters of the Rhine River. The current was powerful, and supplies seemed almost impossible, ready to attack anyone attempting the crossing. Hannibal refused to panic. Another force secretly crossed upstream during the night. At dawn, the hidden troops attacked from behind. Horses struggled against the current. Then came the greatest challenge. The elephants. Many refused to move. Some panicked at the sight of the rushing river. Hannibal's engineers built enormous floating platforms. Slowly carefully The elephants crossed. Some became frightened and leapt into the water. Yet even there, the impossible had become reality. The army moved onward. Ahead stood the greatest obstacle of all. The Alps, towering walls of rock and ice rose into the clouds. Snow already covered the highest passes. Narrow paths clung to sheer cliffs. More than 6,000 cavalry would finally crush Hannibal forever. Hannibal welcomed the challenge. The battlefield was flat, perfect for cavalry, perfect for maneuver. Hannibal carefully arranged his army. His strongest African infantry stood on both flanks. His center consisted of Spanish and Gallic troops. Across the field stood the enormous Roman army, confident, determined, certain of victory. The battle began. Roman infantry surged forward with tremendous force, exactly as Hannibal expected. His center slowly gave ground. They pushed harder, deeper, further into the enemy formation. But this retreat was no accident. It was the trap, as the Roman army crowded into the center. At the same moment, Carthaginian cavalry, having already defeated the Roman horsemen, galloped behind the Roman army. Within minutes, there was nowhere to run, nowhere to retreat. Thousands of soldiers were crushed together. Slaughter lasted for hours. Wave after wave of Roman soldiers fell. By sunset, the battlefield was covered with bodies. Ancient sources estimate that between 50,000 and 70,000 Roman soldiers were killed in a single day. News of Cannae shocked the ancient world. For a moment, it seemed the Roman Republic itself might collapse. The road to Rome now lay open. Its people lived in terror. He did not march on Rome. After the disaster at Cannae, panic swept across Rome. The Senate met in emergency sessions. Yet Hannibal did not march on Rome. Why? Historians still debate the answer. Campaigning. Others believe he lacked the heavy siege equipment needed to break Rome's massive defensive walls. Whatever the reason, the moment passed. Rome survived, and Rome refused to surrender. It rebuilt. New armies were raised. Teenagers and elderly citizens were recruited into the legions. Rome had suffered its greatest defeat, but its determination remained unbroken. Cities welcomed him. Allies joined his cause. Yet the decisive victory he needed never came. Hannibal where he was strongest. Instead, they avoided large battles. They attacked his allies. They cut his supply lines. They slowly weakened his position. Then a young Roman commander emerged. His name was Publius Cornelius Scipio. Unlike many Roman generals before him, Scipio carefully studied Hannibal's tactics. Scipio proposed something unexpected: attack Carthage itself. If the Carthaginian homeland came under threat, Hannibal would have no choice but to return. The plan worked. Roman forces landed in North Africa. Suddenly, Carthage faced invasion. Urgent messages crossed the Mediterranean. The two greatest commanders of their age finally met. The year was 200 BC. The battlefield was Zama. Scipio refused. The battle began with Hannibal's famous war elephants charging toward the Roman lines. But Scipio had prepared. Many elephants panicked. The battle quickly shifted. Roman cavalry drove Hannibal's horsemen from the field. For the first time in his career, so brilliantly against Rome, the Battle of Zama was lost, and later served as a political leader. But Rome never forgot him. Years later, he traveled from kingdom to kingdom. Eventually, Roman agents closed in once again, refusing to be captured, according to ancient tradition, from the anxiety they have long endured. But his legend never faded. Even today, immortality, more than 2,000 years later, military geniuses in human history. Not because he conquered the world, Roman Republic Hannibal Barca wasn't just one of history's greatest generals. He became one of history's greatest legends. If you enjoyed this documentary, for more epic journeys into the past, and tell us in the comments, Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, or Genghis Khan. Until next time, history never truly dies. It only waits to be remembered.